With Season 2 of Invincible ending just a few weeks ago as I'm writing this video, everyone seems to continue to love Invincible. The show is universally praised for being one of the few bright lights that the superhero genre has to offer, especially in recent years, where people are getting fed up with bad content that Marvel and DC have been pushing out, post-Endgame for Marvel and just DC in general. But with all the hype and praise shown for the show and its comics, I stumbled upon something truly incredible that I think is slept on. Today, I'm going to be talking about Invincible's unreleased movie produced by Paramount Pictures. Alright, to really understand, we have to start way back from the beginning. Invincible is a comic from 2003 created by Robert Kirkman, Cory Walker, and Ryan Ottley. The comic follows a teenager named Mark Grayson as he inherits powers from his father, Omni-Man, and tries to follow in his father's footsteps in superheroics. The comic book was praised for being really well written and subverting tropes of the superhero genre. The comic series is also kind of a small satire of superhero comics too. Anyways, the comic book is doing really well and people love it, but someday in March 4th, 2005, Paramount Pictures was said to have purchased the film rights to Invincible. Producer Lorenzo di Bonaventura, who is known for his work on Constantine, was said to be attached to the film along with series co-creator Robert Kirkman, who was said to be writing the screenplay for the film. It's said that Paramount was trying to turn Invincible into the next big franchise as akin to X-Men or Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films. Robert Kirkman himself has even talked about how he's excited to expand Invincible onto the big screen, but honestly, it seems like the announcement of this movie is the reason why the Invincible Ultimate Collection was even made. What's funny about all of this is that Paramount really did want to make Invincible a household franchise. And if the movie actually did come out, it probably would have come out around the time the first Iron Man movie came out. Or maybe even a year before then. And if that were to happen, and if the movie actually did do well, then the franchise could have been started at the same time the MCU did, or around the same time the MCU did, and there would be two franchises contending to be a cinematic universe. And I kind of find that funny. And seeing how big Invincible is now, and how mainstream it is now, I'm kind of surprised no one has actually brought this up. And why hasn't this happened? And why is nobody talking about this? But I guess I have to dig deeper a little bit. No matter how hard I try to dig for information in this, it's really hard. Because, like I said earlier, I have to be very specific about what I'm looking for. And when I do find something that I'm looking for, it's usually about the same, just posted by a different news network. However, with that being said, there's one thing that actually ties all these different articles together, no matter how similar they actually are. Obviously, they're all reporting on the same topic, the announcement of the Invincible movie. But the person, or I guess the article or company that actually released this information has been Variety. And I think if you look at all the images I sent, they're all mentioning Variety. So, let's check out Variety. As you can see, I'm just kind of time-lapsing through this because I had a little bit of trouble actually trying to find what I actually wanted to find. And even then, if you see, it's going to be coming up pretty soon actually. When I do find what I'm going to find, it's pretty much the same thing. But if you look, there's some icons there. If you look right here, you can see that there's social media pages. So hopefully these pages belong to the writer of the article, Dave McNary, and maybe I could DM the guy and ask for more information. Well, I guess there's only one way to find out, so let's see. I ended up going through some of his social media, and I went on his Twitter, or X, or whatever you call it nowadays, and I followed him, and I'm trying to look for a DM box, but I'm assuming he has his DMs off, so I'm going to try to look for an email and ask him. Okay, so I'm recording this later after looking for the guy's contact information, and I just found out that Dave McNary is actually dead, so yeah, rest in peace to the guy. Man, I feel really bad trying to contact him. Man, may he rest in peace, man. Well, now I'm kind of in a dead end now. Listen, I know this isn't exactly the ending that you guys watching really want or expected, But the sad truth is I really just don't know where to look, and I don't really know where to go anymore. I feel like I almost looked everywhere, and at this point, I just can't find anything that's different from what I've already found. So, from here on now, the rest of the video is just going to be me talking about some theories of why I think the movie never came out, and talking about what the movie probably could have been like. Well, I'm sorry it didn't turn out the way. Hopefully I can make a part 2 finding more information as to why it actually didn't come out. But for now, you just have to stick with my theories. Hopefully you stick along the rest of the video. If you do, thank you. I would greatly appreciate it. So let's get started with these theories. The simplest theory that I honestly could come up with is that the contract simply expired between the two companies, Image and Paramount Pictures. For a movie studio to actually use an IP like Invincible or something, generally there's going to be a time period in which the movie has to be made before it expires. We've seen this happen countless times actually. It happened to the Fantastic Four, Blade, Ghost Rider, and even Sony has to deal with that too, which is the reason why they actually have to keep producing crappy Spider-Man movies every few years so they could keep the Spider-Man license. That's why we get random Spider-Man spin-off movies. But back to the point, I say that would be the best shot. Maybe the movie was taking too long, but if it was taking too long, I feel like we would have gotten information on it in its production hell. And I guess that comes to the second reason. Maybe the whole movie was just cancelled or scrapped because there was a lot of production hell. I could imagine with a series like that, Paramount may have wanted to make it a big franchise, but at the time, Invincible really wasn't as big as it is now. Sure, it was doing pretty well considering it's from a smaller company like Image, but it still wasn't as big as something made by Marvel or DC per se. But I don't know. Maybe they weren't thinking straight and they backed out before actually starting production of the movie. We will never know. I guess now this is the segment of the video where I talk about what I think would have happened. The funny thing is that I feel like an Invincible movie might be a little bit hard to do because there's so much to it. And I think the show, I think Invincible fits a more serialized television format more than it does a movie format. But either way, this is how I'd have it go. I think the movie would be around 2 hours, 30 minutes. So we have time to get introduced to Mark, Adam Eve, the teen team, a little bit of the Guardians of the Grove, and obviously Mark's parents. We get to see Invincible growing as a hero, him growing up as a person, falling in love, etc. And I think that we should do something similar to what the Invincible show did, where we almost instantly get to see Omni-Man rip some people up, because then we get to feel tense every time Omni-Man's on screen. Almost the entire movie before that final fight, we get to see what everyone else thinks of Omni-Man, or the viewers themselves get to fear of what could possibly happen. And I think that's good because it builds up suspense and it's just really interesting. And I think that's what the show does great. And I think that could go really well if a movie decides to go that route too. And yeah, honestly, I can't really see this first Invincible movie really going any different than what the show did. I think it would be a little bit more accurate to the comics because obviously the show made its own small creative liberties, and those creative liberties aren't bad at all by any means. They just are very slight differences just to be more modern, I guess. And like I said, it's not really a bad thing, and I personally don't really care at all. But yeah. Anyways, that first movie basically is the basic season 1, or if you're just gonna go through the comics, just that basic volume 1, 2, 3, I guess, or whatever the time span of that is. It's just your basic origin story, and the same story everyone pretty much knows of Omni-Man being evil and stuff. I think the other stuff, the movies later on, is going to be a little bit more interesting. I think I'm actually going to opt for something similar to what season 2 of the show is doing, where we introduce the multiverse and Angstrom Levi. And then after that, I'd like to introduce Anissa, and then I'd eventually go to the Invincible War. And then for the Invincible War would be the third movie. And I'd have stuff with conquests and stuff like that, and I think that would be pretty cool. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, Invincible is a really long story, and it's better in a TV show format. Movies, it wouldn't really be done justice unless it really was a huge universe. Invincible is one single run that spanned, like around 15 years? And that's crazy. With Marvel and DC, you could pretty much pick and choose to adapt into a single movie or even do something original. But with Invincible, you pretty much have to have one consistent whole multi-story arc movie franchise. And it's kind of hard too, because Invincible is pretty much invincible. There's not really any spin-off stuff, and I guess the most you could really say is that you could introduce like people like Spawn or any other Image Comics characters into the same quote-unquote universe. But even then, they were kind of treated as a crossover. I guess if Invincible movie were to come out at that time, and it did really good and spawned a bunch of movies, and the MCU was at the same time, Invincible and Spider-Man did end up meeting up in the comics officially, so I guess I could see the MCU and the Invincible universe collabing or colliding if they got over, if Disney or Disney Paramount actually got together and got it to work. But again, this is all just like hopes and dreams or wishes and crap like that. Anyway, yeah. Hey, I just want to say thank you for watching this video. This is my first real kind of video essay. Honestly, I can't really call it that. This is just a weird project that I had in my scripts or something. I've been meaning to work on this for a long time, but I guess 8 months has passed and time really does fly, huh? Anyways, I know a lot of my grammar in this video is kind of messy and really bad, and the recording quality can vary for better or worse. I just want to say thank you. I want to make more video essays about this, about stuff I really like, and hopefully you guys will stick with me along the way. I know this ain't much right now, but eventually I want to be better, and eventually I hope I could make more entertaining stuff than this. And this is a part 1 too. Hopefully, if this video does well and people can help me find more information, I will gather all that information together and I will make a part 2 and a follow-up to this. Until then, thank you guys. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. If you excuse me, I gotta finish reading my new copy of the Invincible Compendium and also Gwenpool. So I'm gonna be reading a lot, so yeah, see ya.